How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the first post-season or post-complete season Fourever Arsenal podcast. It's the Champions League finals out of the way. PSG have won it 5-0 against Inter. No more competitive football for a little while now. It's onto transfer window pre-season. I say onto window. I mean, a good few clubs have moved on swiftly, including us. Zubimendi seems to be over the line, or as much over the line as it can be before being announced, as well as other clubs around us doing their business. Big up Jordan, big up Lee. You can see James ain't here. He's on holiday, people. To be honest, there's a few holidays coming up for a few of us. So, yeah, it's going to be chopping and changing for the next couple of weeks and back to the norm, hopefully, by the end of June. But we'll see. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to individual channels. You know what to do. Big up Lee, Jordan, and James, wherever he is. How are we feeling, lads?
Good.
Yeah, all good. All good. Looking forward to it coming out. Cricket's on, which is good. Watched England yesterday. Watched a bit of tennis yesterday, which was fantastic. I don't know if I see the Sheldon Alcatraz game. That was brilliant, you know. So, yeah, summer's here, all tanned up and ready to go.
Yeah, he's fresh off a holiday. So, yeah, he's glowing right now. Jordan, all good?
Yes, boss. I'm good, man. I'm good. I feel like we needed a break from the football now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of football, man. The Club World Cup starts, I think, in a month. But there's pre-season games. United have got. It's just too much football. So a nice little break. But actually, having said all that, I'm going to contradict myself now. I've just got to big up the Unity Cup last week, right? So I think it's really important that I just mentioned the Unity Cup. So for those who don't know, Unity Cup was on last week. It's a 4-nation tournament. It's been going for quite a long time, apparently, but like gaps of years where it hasn't been happening. This was the first time it happened. It happened at the G-Tech at Brentford's ground. Nigeria, Jamaica, Ghana, and Trinidad and Tobago. I was booked as the stadium announcer, actually, for all 3 days, which was so much fun. Big up everybody that took part in the Unity Cup. The winners were Nigeria in the end. But I just wanted to make a point about, I'll be very brief, about why it was so good and also why it's so important. Because it was beautiful. Lee, Turkish, honestly, next year, if they do it again, I think they will, you've got to come. It's just a festival of vibes. And what I loved about it so much was a lot of people that were there aren't even massively into football, but it creates an environment for people that don't love football or do but don't go to football. So black people. Traditionally, my family, my dad, my mom, they love football, but they've not gone to football games because of the 80s and the 90s. It wasn't really a space where a lot of people could go and watch their football. And in our community, pubs aren't really the thing. We don't really go to pubs. We go to the barbershops. We go to barbecues. That's how we consume our football outside of the football stadiums. And what the Unity Cup did was create an environment where not just black people, but at large Nigerians, Ghanaians, Jamaicans, and Trinis and more could come and watch some better football than I thought. I thought it'd be quite a poor standard, and it wasn't great, but it was better than I expected. Watch football, but more important than that, it was just a cultural coming together. It was community. Go and check out the videos on the Unity Cup Instagram, because this channel isn't to get political or nothing like that, but as I mentioned, so many people have been marginalized and excluded from football for so long. And this was a 4-team tournament that was so inclusive. And it showed that if you create an environment that is inclusive, people feel respected, and people feel like they recognize what's around them, they will turn up. And they came with their flags. The amount of white people I saw that came with Jamaican homemade hats and flags, and the noise, it was, I heard dialects, even within one nation, Turkish, Jamaicans, different Jamaican, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Senegalese people. It was just a beautiful, beautiful coming together of people. The football was almost a side dish. It was the mute. There was a concert, and there were acts, there were sound clashes, there was flag wave. It was vibes, food, Trini food, Jamaican food, Ghanaian food. It was so good, and I really hope they do it again next year. But I wanted to big them up because it's something that I think we need, and it's not to exclude anybody else. There were British Asians there, there were white people there, there were black people there, but it just felt like a real coming together of people that I reckon half the people there don't go to football stadiums, but might like football because the environment doesn't feel like it's one for them. they don't attend. And I know this is not a chance to get political on, but this channel does so much work in terms of you guys go to food banks and go to soup kitchens at Christmas. Robbie does a walk around London for prostate cancer. So it's not about getting political, but it's about showing how football can do so much more than just football. Everywhere I go, people say to me, guys, oh, why don't you get really angry about that refereeing decision? Why don't you get angry about that chance missed by so-and-so striker at Arsenal? I'm like, listen, football doesn't exercise me in that way anymore. I love Arsenal, I love football. But you know what exercises me, guys? Injustice, disrespect, inequality, unfairness. And football has a chance to kind of, within its realm, attach and tackle all of those areas within its field. And this 4-team tournament felt like a space where everybody felt like they belonged and they were welcomed. I saw 90-year-olds, guys. I saw kids, families. It was vibes. Everyone was smiling. The football was decent. Honestly, I'm talking too much now, but I want to big up the Unity Cup because it was amazing. It was amazing.
Why was it those 4 teams, Jordan? Like,
I don't know. You know, I don't think it's those 4 teams all the time. I think last time it was Jamaica, Nigeria, Ghana, and maybe Senegal. I think were there last time. I don't know.
That could be like next time. Could be the Ivory Coast.
It could be like, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. A group called Afro Sport are the organisers. And they pick the nations. It might be who's available, who can bring 15 to 20 players. I don't know.
Well, get us on it next year. Get us on it next year, Turkish. What do you reckon? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually feel like a lot of the guys went, didn't they?
They were there.
I see the pictures and all that, and it looked really, really good. And I think you make a great point there about that's what football's about. You know, yes, it's about winning and losing, and there's all the banter that goes with it, but it's also about bringing communities together, bringing people together to do different things, whether it be that sort of thing or a charity game or something like, you know, that just brings everybody together. And that's what football, and I think that with the money side of it and everything like that, perhaps we lose a little bit of sight of that, like, you know, and we get too involved in it. But ultimately it is about, you know, bringing people together, you know, like the likes of, all 3 of us are all completely different in life, but we can go and join the same thing and be a part of something special. And that's what football is.
Lee, you would have loved it, Lee.
I did like the vibe of it. Though, you know?
It was amazing. I've never seen so many dreadlocks since Carnival, and some of the women that were there.
Well, you have to get me a wig then, like, you know what I mean? No dreadlocks going about, like, you know what I mean?
Your time's done, Lee. But some of the women that were there,
I do have a discount code.
I'll defer upstairs to Turkish on that one, Lee. Turkish is your man for that one.
Click the link, man. No, 100. The vibes look great though. Like I said, one of my friends, one of the main organizers, and generally, like, I've got a lot of African and Caribbean friends, and just seeing the pictures and the vibes on IG, and more, I'm looking through IG and I'm seeing people that never go to games going to the games. So it's just very different.
And not only going Turkish, but getting involved. They weren't just there. They were everyone. I saw people in the VIP bits, like celebrities that don't like football, but it was a boy. I saw your brethren there who works at Brentford there as well. I want to big up Brentford because it was a real good place to hold it. One, because their ground, I didn't know it was only 20,000. It's really, I didn't know it was as small as it is. But I think the first day they had 11,000. The second day they had, I think, 14,000. And then the final day they had, I think, just under capacity, maybe like 18,000. But Brentford, and I've got to pick up the staff there as well, they get it. Some clubs get it. Arsenal get it. Crystal Palace get it. And Brentford, you can see the staff that work there. They understand what they were doing. They got the assignments. So I want to big up Brentford as well because they did a really good job on it as well. So hopefully it'll be on next year. And yeah, just calm down and vibe.
But even though they've done it before, this one seemed to catch the eyes a lot more than previous. So I think it's only going to get bigger and better from this one. So definitely be back next year. And Brentford, I've heard they've done a good job. It looked like they've done a good job. My friend works there, so hopefully they get the job again next season because it's a good location as well. In London for people to get to and so on.
It's really mad because Fourever Brentford are coming home. You know what I mean? See the ground and all that, like, you know, and you can see, great little thing coming back from into Heathrow, because you can see the Emirates, you see West Ham's ground, Lords, and then you go to Brentford. You miss out Chelsea and Tottenham, which is fantastic. So you see all the iconic ground. But going over it, you go over Brentford. I never realised you go over Brentford, like, because you do go. It's right on the river, really, isn't it? Like, you know, I didn't realise how close it was. I know you get the bridge, because you sort of like when you go to Brentford, you sort of go in and out of it, so you don't really see it. But like it's a great location, like in the west of London there, and I think it's a nice little stadium, Turkish, don't you? I think that it's a weird stadium. Anybody that's been there knows what I mean. You walk along, and there's no stadium. It's buildings, and do you know we've been there as well now, like Jordan, like so. You could like, where's the stadium? The first time you go there, is there a stadium here? It's isn't it? Like, but when you actually get into it and around it, it's fantastic little stadium like that. Not for me as good as Griffin Park. I've got to say, because that was very iconic ground. I don't know, like we had the 4 pubs on the corner and things like that. It's good. And Brentford, like, definitely punching, definitely punching.
Yeah, big up Unity Cup, big up the people involved. See you next year. Jordan's getting us in.
It's better now. Like, if you see that, I'll carry his mic if I have to get in.
Honestly, Lee, it was my first time being a stadium announcer.
And how did it go?
It's so much fun. So there was a host. The host is more like the hype guy. He's like the more energy guy. But you know me, I can't help myself, and I kind of got a little bit involved in that as well. But it was so much fun. The only difficult part was I spent hours each day before call time practicing some of the Nigerian surnames, because I like to get people's surnames correct, right?
Yeah.
I think
I try as well.
At least you try. But the only difficult thing was like 4 subs from Nigeria, and you're like, oh geez, like I'm in trouble here. You got to get them all anyway. But apart from that, it was a lot of fun. Just announcing the goals, full time whistle, added on minutes. It's a lot of fun. And also AFTV got bare love. Fourever Arsenal. Oh my god, all the people that were there, bigging up all 4 of us. That was, I can't remember all the people that were. I didn't try to pretend as well, but I couldn't remember their names. But AFTV and Fourever Arsenal got so much love. So big up everybody that stopped me to say they love the pod. Even people that worked at Brentford, but like, yeah. Tell that Lee's a. I won't say it on the pod.
No, that's fair enough. Just picked up Brentford as well, like that.
Oh mate. Cool. We are good to go. I mean, we was good to go 13 minutes ago, but I think a nice little segment on Unity Cup and a little shout out to Brentford, and now we are really good to go. I say that because our Arsenal good to go. I'm not too sure. We're looking around. Jordan the other day in the group said, this could be. I sat along, the Vert signing. It could be very bad for us. And what prompted that though? Because we've already known about that couple of weeks, but random message in the group.
I just think when I messaged it, I got tipped off that it's like it's not just they're in talks. It's pretty much done. So that was kind of my kind of reason for prompting it. But he's so good. He is so good. I'm trying to think of a comparative signing in Premier League years, in recent years, like a game-changing signing. I can't really think of like the last game-changing, like, oh wow, they got him type signing. But it's one of those. If we're losing De Bruyne and we're getting him in this league, he's it's a problem. I won't go as far as to say that has kind of won the window, in this horrible phrase, won the window or even won the league. But it's a problem, man. It's a big get that for Liverpool. So I'm just a little bit concerned because we can do what we need to do, but Liverpool have kept their big guns, bar Alexander-Arnold, and now they're bringing in a top right back, they're bringing a top left back, they're bringing in a top number 10 who can also play wide. Like they're going to be a problem next year, guys.
Yeah,
it's a problem this year.
Big problem. Big problem. I hear it. Obviously, I hear it. You're looking at Liverpool's business, they do, and you're right. Verts is one of those signings that they don't come around often. That sort
Who was
of
the last wild signing?
Sorry.
So, who was the last like Premier League wow signing? The last signing you thought, oh, they've got him.
Well, I think Declan Rice was for us, definitely. I think that was one that I was 2 seasons ago. I was like a kid in a toy shop with him. Like, I'll be honest, and really like when he made his debut in Washington, come on in the last 10 minutes. That was an exciting sort of move, and I think it's a good question. When was the last one of that?
Haaland, probably.
No? Haaland, yeah.
Haaland
was a big signing, wasn't it? Like, so
maybe.
But that's what you look at the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. That's what you have to do. You know what I mean? And we should be doing that more often. The big teams, and what I like about what I don't like, but I do like about Liverpool is that they've not just sat on their laurels. I think that Arsenal over the years have done that. I think we've won the leagues, and then correct me if I'm wrong or whatever. Like I think we won the league in 1 year and never really. I don't know what year it was. We didn't really buy anybody for a couple more years. Certainly in 2004 when we won it, we broke up that team instead of building onto it. Yeah. But Liverpool going down the right route, and that's what Listen, Liverpool fans will be excited, but that's what we've got to get. This is where I think Arsenal now have got to make signings. And sometimes, guys, and I've been watching from a distance of a lot of moaning and groaning going on. Sometimes it's not those signings that excite us, those solid signings that do the business for you. Like Zubimendi is not what I can say one that's going to excite and everything like that, but it's a good solid signing. The forward one's going to be different, but I expect Arsenal to make 3 or 4 of those sort of signings that you look at and go, they're not exciting, but they're going to do good for us. I look back at, Sol Campbell was an exciting signing, but because it was the Tottenham connection, but realistically, he was a central defender coming in exactly what we needed to replace eventually Tony Adams. You know what I mean? And I think Arsenal have got to do that on 4. I'm saying 4 big signings this season for me to think, right, I'm looking forward to next season. I get it that Zubimendi's not going to do that. Dare I say it, Sesko's not going to do it, if I'll be really honest. But that's where we are at this moment in time.
Are you feeling good about it? Arsenal side of things, not Liverpool, obviously. But
what, Sesko?
I mean, just generally, Arsenal, there's a signing there, and Zubimendi seems to be over the line or close to. Sesko's the preferred choice, so it seems, even though it's only from Romano. We haven't heard from Ornstein. How are we feeling about this window? Because then we look at the ones that have won the league and they've really strengthened already.
Listen, with the Sesko one, I see a lot of negativity around it. But I also see a lot of positives around it. I get, if you want my real honest opinion, I'm at the stage where I'm looking at like Gyökeres would be the one because he's ready now. Where I'm looking at Sesko, it's more of a 3-4 year plan, if you know what I mean, but that's I think that's what, and whether you like it or whether you don't, that's the sort of players that Arteta wants. He wants to bring in younger players and mould them into the way that he's feeling. I think they're easier to manage, if I'll be honest. I'm not saying that's a criticism of Mikel, but I think that we would all like to see that goal scoring sort of play, but I think they're difficult to manage, and I don't know if that's what he wants in that environment. So listen, I think that what I've seen of him, he's good. Is he going to take us to the title? I'm not so sure. But then I think even if we sign Gyökeres, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I don't think it's just about one. And then like watching PSG the other night, that tells me, it's not just about a striker. Look how good they were in other areas. And Dembele is not an out striker, but the movement and the touches from him on that day was sensational. I have to say that. I know he didn't get the plaudits that he deserved, but sometimes it's about the gel in it, the glue that brings everybody else together. So this is a very, very intriguing. Listen, let's not make no bones about it. Come on, it's make or break. This transfer window will make or break the manager. Simple as that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it will, Lee.
Really?
You say make or break in terms of if it doesn't go well this season, he'll go. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I do, and I think that a lot of the fans will turn.
I don't think there's a direct correlation between the fans turning. Let's say this time next year it's second again, no trophies. I don't think there's a correlation between that season, the fans turning, and him losing his job. I don't. I think as long as he gets, as long as he keeps us competitive, as long as he's getting the Champions League money coming in, as long as he's going deepish in the cups, I don't think under any pressure at all. Now, whether that's right or wrong, we can discuss. But I keep hearing people say this is the season where it could be over. I think as long as we don't finish fifth, I think he's safe.
Well, that goes back down to Arsenal and the real problem at the club and the core issue behind it all and everything.
Yeah, I mean, should he be safe? Probably not. But I keep hearing people say this is the year he's got to do it. Otherwise what? What? Well, not getting sacked.
Listen, I'm desperate for him to do well because not because it would prove a lot of people wrong. It's just that Arsenal will win something, and that's all that matters to me. I don't care if who's manager and who's not really, like, as long as they win. But I do want Mikel to be successful. I do. I think that he deserves it. I think he's put us in a position, but he would prove a lot of people wrong. But I'm sorry if he doesn't. If we have the season that we did have this season, say the same sort of season as this season, going out of the cups, you know what I mean? Like, I think, the fans. I certainly won't be in his camp no more.
So let me ask you, Lee. If let's play a game. This time next season, he finishes second, 8 points behind City, but wins the FA and League Cup. Good season?
Yeah, stays.
Was that a good season?
Well, you've won 2 trophies. I know where you're coming from and all that, but you've not challenged for the title. I get that. We haven't challenged for the title this season. Have we had a good season?
8 points is arguably a challenge. If you finish 8 points behind City,
that's
arguably a challenge. Couple of defeats.
Listen, you can't turn around and say to the manager, if you don't win nothing, you've got to sack him. He wins 2 trophies, then you're going to sack him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think you've got to go with it if that was the case. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's got a challenge for the league this season and win a trophy. I don't care what it is. I just
got to win the league, man.
I get that. I get it.
Is it league
or tough?
Plus for you?
Yes, it's the big ones. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't. The FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. You can bow out on that, but really, I feel like the league is the one now. Yeah, it's not being compromised.
3 runners up. I suppose you've got to look at that and go, the league is.
Yeah, I'm not looking further past the league. That's the one.
I mean, in regards to the summer business, I mean, it has started, as you mentioned, Turkish. I'm not massively overwhelmed. I think Zubimendi, as Lee said, is a solid signing. He's a good player. He's a good player that I think we need. I think we need someone that can create from deep, as well as, I think, a creator in the assist part of the pitch, number 10 role. That's a good area. I watched James's video on his channel last night or this morning. I've not finished it yet, but there's links apparently that's saying that Barcelona are close to wrapping up Partey. Yeah, now, I don't know if Partey's using us as like a bit of a decoy to get a move to Barcelona. I don't know if we're getting used because I thought the Partey deal was almost done. But I don't know. Maybe the other way. Maybe he's using Barcelona to get a better deal with us. I don't know. But in that midfield area, if our options are Partey, Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, and who'd be the 5th? Ranieri? Who'd be the 5th midfielder?
Well, we buy him. We should be in for Shirky. I don't understand, why I don't understand how Arteta can come out and say we lack creativity or we need creativity, right? And we're seeing Wirtz and Shirky go with no interest, no bid, no nothing. That's why it's all bollocks to me. That it's just about how they frame the bollocks. That's really what it is. It's just better bollocks than before. If we're second now, third, we're challenging, we're up there rather than 8th place bollocks. Do you get? But it's still the same shit coming out of the club in terms of once it's time to get over the line with something, maybe go that extra yard, take the risk. We're found wanting. Not just Wirtz and Shirky, but we missed out on Kvara in January. I'm not going to let that go because we've seen over and over again this season how important that signing was and how he comes out of the Champions League final having joined an attack that's already a lot more fruitful than ours, a lot more exciting. They brought him on top of that. Whereas we worry about people's development, Martinelli's development. Don't buy a number 10 because Max Dowman's coming through, a 15-year-old. Why do we do? Why is it us that do this? Like, how are we not? How can a manager say creativity and we don't even entertain Wirtz? I feel like Liverpool done the groundwork. It was always going to happen. It just unfolded after the season, right? You could still put your name in the hat. Like Bayern did, like Man City did, maybe, but Liverpool ultimately, I think they were going to get their man. But Shirky. But then it goes down to the Maverick thing and then the type of character that maybe Arteta does want to manage and whatnot. I don't know. You can't tell me we need creativity. Then I see 2 creative midfielders go. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
Can I say something, though, Trish, about that? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a big name or whatever. Like, I did watch the Real Betis game versus Chelsea, bits of it until Chelsea were in the lead. But they had a player there I've never seen play before, the number 10 who scored the goal. For unbelievable talent. As soon as he went off, the game was done. But, they're out there. They're out there. Don't have to necessarily be household names of whatever. And I think that sometimes we have to be cute as well in this transfer window as well. We ain't going to be all about, big money signings because, I think you're right about we need like Odegaard, by the way, I have watched back, come on and the Southampton game. I thought it was excellent when he came on, but he cannot have another season like he did where he's not at his best, but we're continuing playing because we haven't got anybody else. So that has got to be addressed by Arteta in the summer. Now, I don't know if it's £100 million player, but it's got to be somebody that's going to, or it's Wanyeri doing it or whatever. But if he's not at the races, that needs to be sorted early. And that is those sort of players that we're going to have to bring in. I think we're going to have to play players or sign players that if you're playing one week and not the next, there's no different. If it's Odegaard playing on the Saturday, then and somebody else playing on the Wednesday, there cannot be a drop-off like there has been over these last few years. And that is the signings that we've got to make. And that's where we've got to be cute. And I'm not going to be blowing me gasket if it isn't a big name player. But it's got to be like the right fit, right players coming in. And I don't know if this window is going to excite us, guys. I really don't. But I think it may be a window where we look back at it and think, yeah, that was a good signing. Yeah, I look back at times, was Freddie Ljungberg an exciting signing for us? He wasn't. But look what he done. I think that's the route we're going to have to go down in some areas. Isn't
that the life we live, though? That's my problem with it. Every signing is more that type of signing than the other type of signing.
Yeah, I get that because of what we haven't done. Someone made a great point. Could have even been you, Turkish, that made this point. Was that I think it was you said it. Missing out and not signing no one in January to get Sesko is poor business in January. You know what I mean? Because you could have actually, if Sesko's the man you want, you didn't have to wait and not do nothing in January. Was it you said that or something along those lines?
Before, yes, I've said it before. I'm not sure if you're right.
And I was listening to it. I'm pretty sure it was you on one of the shows, and I couldn't agree more. That it's something that I think we've got to look to do. I think we've got to, mate, if you're bringing in Sesko, I think somebody else has got to come in up front as well. I don't think it's just Cisco. Like, you know what I mean?
We're not going to
really do.
We're not going to buy 2 strikers.
Why?
He doesn't even want to buy one.
What? We're not going to buy 2 strikers because
if you want to buy, sorry, Jordan, sorry, but if you want to buy a striker, right? Then you're in the market for. There's a few options there. Gyökeres would be there. You test the waters a little bit. What we want is another project. Sesko is not he's an out-and-out striker for sure. In terms of he can do the outside of the box stuff, and he's played support striker and whatnot. But he's more of a project type of player than he is a certified gunman coming into a side. So we don't even. Arteta hasn't even indicated he wants to buy a real
number 9,
certified number 9 that's doing it.
He doesn't, Turkish. He doesn't. You know what I mean? It's the style of play that he does. Isn't going to do that. He's not going to go down that route. I've said that all along.
When I say, Lee, that I don't think he'll buy 2 strikers, I think because he's got Jesus on big wages. I think if Jesus wasn't injured, I think he'd sell him. And then you can get 2 strikers in. So then you've got 2 strikers plus Havertz. Well, because he's still got Jesus there, who, by all reports, is going to be out injured until January. I heard he's out for the rest of the calendar year. You can't sell him. And he's on big wages. So that Jesus' wages would be the wages you would give to a third striker.
Yeah,
but he can't buy that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know what I mean? So you got Jesus, Havertz, and then one coming in. Do you know what I mean? So I just don't see him buying 2. I think we need 2. But then again, do you buy 1 striker and 1 left winger that can play up front, for example? I don't know. I'd like 2 strikers.
Just a shame about Jesus, you know what I mean, and the injuries and everything like that. It's just a real. It's not worked because of the injuries. I don't think it's not worked because of Arteta or not that I think that, you know, that first season that he comes to the club up until the World Cup before he got injured, I thought Arsenal was sensational. He wasn't an out-and-out scorer, but we was brilliant. We was romping the league at that stage with some scintillating football. And then he got injured and it was never quite the same. And he's never been quite the same since. So, you know, injuries, you know, that's a major blow. And now, because of that injury, you're right, Jordan, not thinking about it, it is hampering us a little bit, which is, you don't really want to say that, but it is. It is. You're right.
If he was on like little wages, it wouldn't be a big thing. But he's one of our top 5 earners. You can't. That's wages you want to give to another striker that can play, because he's out for so long. You just can't shift him. You can't shift him.
Hay fever's just got a hold of me right now. I just keep on sneezing. So
you as well.
And when I sneeze once, I sneeze about 40 times. So bear with me, people. I'm not trying to sneeze all up on camera, but I agree with the wages thing. It falls under his remit again. That's why we need to be delivering the league title this year, because there's no excuses, no one to hide anywhere. We've got Berta in the role, most experienced man we could get. You know, now just do the damn thing and get the job done. We do need multiple attackers. That's why it'd be nice to kind of slowly but surely seal one up, whoever it is. You know, I'd prefer a Gyökeres because I just think he's more ready. He's more now. I don't watch Portuguese league seasons or German league seasons for me to you know, give an informed opinion on that. But what I do know is Gyökeres has been banging across the board for a couple of years now. And that's what I want Arsenal to be going for, the players that are ready-made, kind of doing their thing. It limits the amount of excuses that are around the corner. Whereas if we go for the same old again, there's many excuses that come with it. We've seen it over the years. And, you know, we love an excuse. We love a reason. We love a project. We love a process. I don't know why this is, but, you know, if we get another one, we'll probably lap it up again. Like, it wasn't too long ago we was lapping up the win the dog process. You see how that one goes under the carpet real quick a year later, because it's just, they just throw out the different things to take our attention away. I think this summer it's hard for them to take our attention away from things, because this is it now. We don't care about no dogs, no cats, no buzzwords, no
tifos,
no nothing. Yeah, don't ask the fans to bring their shin pads. Let's just win something. Yeah, this is the season now. And with all the teams moving quick, the market being open earlier than usual, the fact that our season was done a long time ago, we should be well prepared for this. As much as I'm looking at clubs doing business, and, you know, we've pretty much got Zubi in. I say pretty much. I mean, he has changed his mind before with clubs. we got to keep the ball rolling. You know, it can't be Zubimendi, Sesko, and then everything goes quiet. You know,
Yeah,
and that's what it feels like.
Can I make just a quick point about the fact that I yes, we need personnel in the building and we need better players to challenge for next season for sure. But I think it's all well and good us saying Arteta's got to bring in better players to do better. I think he's got to do better too.
Yeah,
I think he's got to change. I think a big part of our season next year is going to have to be him looking at himself and just really looking at how he plays, how this team plays football. Because this year his tactics they didn't work. They didn't. I mean, they got us to second, Champions League semi-final, but they just didn't work. Someone's knocking on my door.
Does he know though? Because he comes out and says we was the best team in the Champions League. Like, is he head over heels for stats now? Like, because that's the only way you can even try and justify something like that. But it did make him seem and sound silly, regardless of whatever XG stat you want to look into.
Maybe, and this is also why I said I think it would be worth bringing in an assistant, a new assistant. Not because I think the current assistant isn't very good at his job. Someone's at my door. That might be Arteta. I'll be back in 1 second.
Might be the bailiff. Arteta or the bailiff. Jordan will find out real soon. Yeah.
I think Jordan's right. He has got to do better. Listen, I don't know why he said that quote. You know what I mean? I was in awe of PSG on the weekend. You know what I mean? Like we give them a very, very good game over 2 legs. But we give them a good game, Turkish. But that was all. They were better than us on both occasions. You can say about your XG, you can say about whatever. But for me, I watched it with my own eyes. They were the better team. They were far better than us. And Arteta can kid people and he can say this about certain things and whatever, but don't, that we're close, but we're not that quite at that level at this moment in time. And listen, I still think there's more than 1 or 2 signings to get to that thing. And Jordan's right. I do think the manager has to take a lot of the blame as well. Listen, when we was all to talk about our Arteta becoming manager, Enrique was the one that I wanted as manager. You know what I mean? Proven and everything like that. And I thought sometimes managers can get you over the line, and he's one that gets you over the line. And that's where Arteta has got to get this right this season. And I think he has to change. Because I do think he has to change.
He does a little bit, Lee, because he's proven 2 seasons ago that he can play the type of football that can also take you to the last week of the season with chance of winning it. He's proven he can do it. So for me, it's not even necessarily about the need for like 20 players coming in. Just 2 or 3 top players, but just tweaking his tactics and allowing his players to play. Allow your players to play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Just trusting them a little bit more. I do think, the one criticism I've got of Arteta, and big criticism I've got of him, is that he doesn't allow players to express it. He's always coaching them, telling them to do this, telling them to do that. Get the structure of a good defence, believe in that defence, and then say to your attacking players, go enjoy yourself. Go and make us win this game in a system which keeps everything structured as well. I get that, but I do think at times the team's overcoached, and I think that he has to just be a little bit, trust in your players. You've got some fantastic footballers in the team. Let them express themselves. Let them express themselves. Defend. But let the players play. And I looked at PSG the other night, and that's exactly what their manager does. He's got a structure there, but when the players are on the ball, just go and enjoy yourself. And I'm not being horrible. There's players like they've got Doan, and they've got players they're not experienced enough to know when to do this and when to do that and when to do that. They're just at this moment in time, you've just go and do your stuff. And what a lovely feeling that must be for a young kid of 18, 19, 20 to be playing in a team where you can just be yourself. Just be yourself.
And also watching that Champions League final and the wingers they have does kind of dispel the myth that the Flirter is brilliant because defensively he's great, because their wingers defensively were great, but they're also really, really good going forward as well. Now, going back to Arteta, I've said before and I'll say again, I put a lot of the blame of the Flirter's lack of development on Mikel Arteta. I think he's coached him too much. He's coached the South Americanness out of him, the raw, get the ball and just go at your man. He's coached it out of him a little bit. But we did see with PSG's wingers, they're very, very diligent and defensive going backwards, but they also are a problem going forward as well. They beat their man. So there's examples there of you can get the defensive discipline from your wide players as well as the attacking output too. So I really hope he was watching that final, because he being the Flirter, but also Arteta, because you can get them to do both. Now, it's a lot of expended energy, and you can't probably do that for 90 minutes for 38 games, but it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, he has to look at himself. The Partey rumours are really picking up this morning, though. I've looked in the background just to get on top of anything that we might have missed, but the Partey stuff is everywhere. Barcelona, potential talks. Nothing concrete as of yet, but the way it's leaking out. I mean, Barcelona, the interest did pop up months ago. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because, maybe a year ago now, I was saying it's probably time to move on from him. But after the season he's had, I'm not really looking at Arsenal and putting any blame on them that he could potentially go on a free, even though he's had a season he's had, because we've had to wait for the season to play out and see how consistent he not just quality wise, that's never in doubt, more the injury concerns and whatnot. So my problem is if we lose that and we lose Partey, then that position hasn't even been upgraded anyway. That, the feeling around that position is Zubimendi comes in, Partey stays, and that position is upgraded, strengthened, and we move on to the attack. If Zubimendi comes in and Partey goes out, we're lighter in that position than we was this season.
Well, yeah, and that smacks to me of I'm guessing here Turkish, but that feels to me like he said to Arsenal, "I'll sign, but you've just brought my man in. So what does that mean for my minutes? So I'll sign if you can give me some kind of assurances I'm going to play a certain amount of games. But you spent 50 million on my man. He's younger than me. He's fitter than me. What does that mean for me?" So, maybe he was going to sign the extension, but when he saw that we wrapped up Zubimendi, he's thinking, "Hang on a minute, what does this mean for me?" The only counter to that then is that going to Barca, their midfield options are pretty good as well. So I don't know if he's starting that team either, bro. So it's I don't know, maybe he's using Barca to kind of like get some kind of assurances from Arsenal that he'll get some kind of guaranteed minutes. But yeah, the Barca stuff is definitely real.
The fit, I would say that probably like with Barcelona, he's probably going to get the same sort of minutes, same sort of things with that. But a free transfer, you're going to get a lot more money. You know what I mean? So this is an interesting one now. Like development like this should never have gone this far anyway. If I'll be honest.
No, iron it out and sort it whether he wants to stay or not, because it could be a wages thing. English clubs tend to pay more, and if you want me to stay, then you pay me what you need to, keep me here. But with, I guess, his importance dwindling over the next couple of years, if he was to stay, in turn, with Zubimendi coming in, he's probably trying to secure himself a few years, and we're trying to secure a lower wage, and it's just working against each other. But it's something we should have been on top of. If it does happen, we need to have a contingency plan for it, because we can't be going in light in another position already. I just thought that would be wrapped up with Zubimendi and Partey, and that looked very healthy. But here we are. What about this stuff on the contract situations? Lewis Skelly, Ethan Ranieri. A few months ago, it did seem like they was on the verge of signing. I can't remember the articles or who they came from, but I remember it was announced we was in talks with both of them. It looked like they was about to sign. I think at one stage Lewis Skelly, it seemed like he signed, but they were waiting on Ethan. But it's coming out that neither has signed a new contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's a bit concerning, because those deals in theory shouldn't be difficult to do.
A year left, I think, both on the contract.
Yeah, that'd be embarrassing if we were to lose those two players, because the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, City, they will swoop in. Maybe even foreign teams, they will swoop in if we're caught slipping on this one. So yeah, you'd like to think that'll get resolved fairly swiftly and fairly conclusively. But yeah, that'd be a massive blow if we were to lose those.
I think they'll get done.
They better.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they will get done. It's just a case of getting the right deals done. I mean, I just looked at Calafiori. He's on 120k a week at Arsenal. So if I'm Lewis Skelly and putting myself in his shoes, or the people that manage his career, they're probably looking at that figure thinking, well, you've signed him in. He came in to be left back. My guy's left back, and he's solid at that in terms of every level he's had to reach this season. He's reached. So 120k, and then when you're 18 on that amount, when you're 21, 22, you're looking at the next increase in that 200 plus left back. I mean, listen, I love Lewis Skelly. I love Ethan. I need both of them to stay. I want both of them untouched in terms of this whole robotic system-based way of playing nowadays, because I think they are out of the normal now in terms of when you look around football and the players. Even though what's normal anymore, we just see PSG the way they won it. Lee mentioned Doué, teenager, another one, at the biggest stage. We saw Yamal not just at the Euros, but over this year with Barca. Doué comes up, another one. And as much as I'm always saying don't rely on teenagers because it's not the right way to go about it, I don't think PSG relied on Doué going into the season. He just forced his way in and made it. Whereas towards the end of our season, we was throw Ethan on, and he just wouldn't do it. So that's also something that lies at his doorstep.
Listen, if I'm Ethan Wanyeri, I'm looking at them guys and thinking, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're being given a chance, and not only a chance, being trusted to perform at the top level. I need a manager that's going to trust me as well. So, that side of it is a bit. I'm not so worried about Miles because he's playing. But I think with Ethan, I think that, he'd be looking at that and thinking, right, okay, this season, I take it that I've, cemented it a little bit.
But Lee, do you not think it's maybe a little bit more than just about the fact that he's playing? Because Miles Lewis Skelly will probably feel and will be told by people around him, you could probably get minutes and play from most teams now in Europe. Not maybe the top teams, but there's a lot of good teams that he could probably get a solid contract, good money, and play
easily.
You know what I mean? So the fact he's playing for Arsenal at the moment is one thing, but if he's not getting the financial security and
they've got to sort that out. But and they will. You know what I mean? Because they've done it with the likes of Saka before. You know what I mean? So that I think that they will. I do think that with Miles, I think that he's above his age sort of thing at this moment in time, strength wise as well. Like, I don't think Ethan's quite developed yet. And listen, because somebody else is making it at 17 and doing well, doesn't mean to say that you ain't going to be doing it at 18, 19. You know what I mean? So I would be a little bit, going down that route with Ethan a little bit. Be patient, be whatever. But there's going to be a stage when that's going to happen. But I think with Miles, he's ready now. I think that he's proved that internationally. I think he'll play in these next couple of England games in there, and I think that at this moment in time, he's nailed on to being involved in the in the World Cup, or is it the World Cup? Yeah, it's the World Cup, isn't it? In America. I think he's nailed on for that if he continues the way he's injury free, and. Without that, listen, you have to look at people. I look at someone like Jude Bellingham now, like, as good as he is and fantastic, he's not played in the Premier League. So like this thing of you want to play for a Premier League team and everything like that, a little bit out of the window now by him. So if a big offer does come in and Arsenal are not prepared to match it, and that worries me a little bit because Arsenal have gone through years and years of that before in the past. You know what I mean? When you go back to Liam Brady back in the 80s, and there's been times that we've not matched the value of the player in terms of wages and things like that. So we've got to be careful with this one.
Yeah, we do. Partey. Well, yeah, I mean that's the big example, isn't it? That's the one we don't want to talk about. To be honest, Henri mentioned him as well
He did.
in in terms of underrated players. And when you hear about how it all unfolded, even with the Van Persies of the world and Sanchez, is the club, the way the club moved that have led to that sort of a fallout. But go on, sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, sorry. Just on that, when he said he was underrated, didn't agree with that. No one underrates Ashley Cole. Everyone knows one of the best left backs of all time. I thought that was a bit. I was like,
Maybe, but I think from a maybe an outside England sense, I'm not too sure how it's perceived. Maybe he's talking from that perspective because I think here when we have debates about it, or if you're even if you're a fan of the league abroad, you'll know Ashley Cole. And when we're having conversations about top left backs, you mentioned the Brazilian ones over those years and French one, Ashley Cole's name always comes up. But from a European perspective, does his name come up? I guess Henri's talking from that level. Like, he's not a born and bred English growing up, supporting up. It's probably that angle.
Okay, yeah, that's
probably. Just assuming, because I'm with you. I don't think he's underrated in the circles I'm in or the debates I've had over the years, but maybe outside looking in, they don't rate him as highly. I think we've covered what we need to cover. Sesko, Gyökeres, Zubimendi, Partey, Ethan, Miles, and that's that. All right. All good. Look at that, people. 51 minutes. We've done it all. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already.
I mean, you could argue that it's James holding us back, really. James is the one that is the reason it's looking like why we go over so often. So I'm just saying, I'm not having a dig at James. I'm just, we're under an hour, 3 of us, 4 of us, an hour and a half.
Yeah, him and his field tilt. He'll go on for about 10 minutes.
It's a lot, man.
All right, cool. I do want to say big up Simon as well, fan of the show. I took Little Man to Minecraft experience a few weeks ago, and he was one of the people helping out in the experience. So big up Simon. I hope you're good, brother. And I want to say a special thank you to a man I only know as Slug McBlob. Is that the name? Slug McBlob. Yep, that is the name. I've just double checked it, double confirmed it. He's done us another Fourever Arsenal highlights package. I'm going to put a link in the description now. If you've lasted this long on the show, it means you're loyal, you're day one, you're in your Fourever Arsenal community, born and bred. So here it is for you. I'll leave sorts out his camera because I don't know what he's doing over there.
He's amazing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. This is going to make next year's highlights.
I don't know what's happened. It's just everything's just gone mad. It's just all gone off for one. I've not touched nothing.
It's all gone judges. It's all gone judges in the building.
It's a shame. So sorry about that. But I'm still here. But I don't know what's going on. I've not touched it. I swear, I don't know what's going on here.
You're a fraud.
He swears, people, he ain't touched it, but he's definitely touched something. So yeah, we move. Slug McRob, this is where your next season highlight starts. Yeah, right here. Lead judges, the technical issues. 5 years in, what are we gonna do? But listen, big thank you to him as well because I say him might be a hurt,
but whoever it is, it's amazing. Well done, great work.
The detail behind it. I mean, 47 minutes long. Like it's another episode in itself. And he's pretty much all in, captured everything that he needs to capture. So not only is he providing us with an extra piece of content at the end of the season, so go subscribe to his channel. Not that he does too much on there, but there's a couple Fourever Arsenal highlights and a few other things. But we're there for the Fourever Arsenal. Go show him some love, because he's also put in the effort, the time to watch the show throughout the season, and then at the end. Put it all together and give us something special. It's nice to have a little highlights package to look back on in a couple of years and laugh about. Lee is absolutely struggling. He's left us 2 man up.
He's in pieces.
I was struggling to get the 3-person template, and now we're 2 people up Fourever Arsenal. The show's going down, mate. Yeah, they have said it. The show's going downhill. Well. If there's any example, it's right now. No background, no overlay. Me and Jordan, no James, no Lee. On that note, people, I think we're gonna wrap it up here because waiting on Lee to try to fix this. I mean, yeah. Good luck with that one, Jordan.
Yes, my bro.
Love for the love, my bro. I mean, it's just us 2 now holding up the show. Call us disabled and whisper it loudly. That is
man.
the channels, people. Jordan's on those channels. Make sure you go support his ventures. Content coming out quite frequently over there as well. So big up Jordan doing his thing. Mine is Turkish LDN and the Big Six. You should know already. James and Lee, they ain't here. Fuck 'em.